Friends of Peachy, and welcome back to my channel, Peachy's World. I'm so glad that you guys could be here with me today. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I was on vacation in Colorado. Fortunately, I didn't have much of an opportunity to film there, so we are playing a little bit of catch up. And as I had stated on my previous videos, the next video I wanted to cover would be complications, like potential complications from VSG surgery, and if I've experienced any of those. So that's what this video is going to be on. It's not too long of a video, but we'll cover a couple of things. And before we dive into that, I know everybody wants an update on numbers, so let's go ahead and talk about my numbers. Starting weight both at, what was it? Let me see, 293.6 is what my starting weight was for pre-op diet. Today I clocked in at 240.4, so that is a total weight loss of 53.2 pounds. So that's awesome. Super excited about that, especially for being about 2.5 months or so post-op. So I'm very happy about that. So let's dive into potential complications with VSG. Now, just to go ahead and get us started, I'm going to go ahead and post a picture of the potential complications that has been listed for me in my notebook from my surgeon, and then we'll just cover each briefly here. So it looks like they've got it broken down into early complications and later complications. So what to expect maybe pretty quickly after surgery, 1 to 4 weeks, and then later on. So some of the early complications include blood clots, pneumonia, bleeding, dehydration, and a leak. So blood clots, we're all familiar with what those are. Now, you do have to take a blood thinner after surgery for 7 days. Those are injectables. And there are some symptoms listed here, like if you feel like you may be suffering from a blood clot issue, what to do. I know it was driven into me very early on that you do want to make sure that you do a lot of walking and movement just to make sure you're not inactive for too long after surgery, and that way it helps minimize that risk a little bit. The next one, pneumonia, fluid builds up in the base of your lungs. It lists what symptoms, causes, and preventions that can be done for there. I know that this particular tool over here that they gave for surgery definitely helps with deep breathing techniques as well. Bleeding, requiring transfusion. It just lists some potential symptoms and causes for that. For prevention, it says that it's really unable to predict. They have to double check that for lab work and everything. I know that when I was being discharged from the hospital, they did run another series of blood tests before leaving just to confirm that there wasn't any signs of a bleed, which is why one of the reasons why I was able to get discharged. So they can't really predict that one, but they do check for it. Dehydration is a struggle, even something that I'm struggling now, and I'm definitely 4 weeks, more than 4 weeks post-op. It is sometimes hard to get enough fluid in. That can be a struggle, but it also lists some symptoms, that to be clear, that you might suffer from, indications per se that'll let you know that you're dehydrated. And then what you need to do to help with that. There's also listed here a leak, which is a small opening on the staple line, and what those symptoms and causes can be. So I would just recommend, I'm not reading this word for word, but if you guys want, you can always hit pause on the video to kind of read through. And again, as always, double check with your surgeon too. They may list other things than what my surgeon has put down, or give you some, further information about it. For the later complications, they have ulcers, stricter nutritional deficiencies, hernia, and gallstones. Again, with symptoms, causes, and preventions. Ulcers in the stomach, it's basically eroded through. It does list here, which I think is very interesting, that smoking is the #1 cause of that. So it did require anyone who smokes to stop at least 6 weeks before surgery. So in my case, I used to vape. So I had to quit that before surgery. It does also ask that you stay away from certain anti-inflammatory medications, which are listed there. And then to make sure you're also taking your Protonics, the generic is listed here, just to make sure that you're keeping that stomach acid low. For restrictors, basically just a narrowing of the stomach causing difficulty swallowing, nutritional deficiencies, especially iron, B vitamins, calcium. So that's if you're not taking your daily vitamins. Hernias, an opening at the abdominal muscle where the bowel comes through. And then what those symptoms and causes may be: gallstones, crystals that occur in the gallbladder, and what those symptoms, causes, and preventions can do. So it's pretty interesting to see that some of them are really just about kind of holding yourself accountable for prevention. You want to make sure you keep up on your vitamins and calcium. You want to make sure you're not lifting too soon after surgery. You do want to avoid things like fatty or fried foods after surgery. You want to make sure you're not smoking or taking any medications that you're not supposed to. Things of that nature. Not all of the things listed here can be prevented. Sometimes they just happen. So now we'll go ahead and we'll dive in real quick into what have I experienced? Have I had any complications? Anything like that. So the ones that I will point out, and they are not actually severe complications that I've experienced. I do struggle with dehydration occasionally. Sometimes it is hard for me to get my fluids in, and I do notice it because I get dizzy very easily. I don't really experience weakness, but I do feel dizzy, especially when I'm bending down or standing up, which is a hypotension issue. So sometimes that's occurring with me because I'm not getting enough fluids in. So for early complications, that's the only thing I've experienced. Now for later complications, my doctor was concerned at one point that I may have an issue with ulcers. He thought that I may have had an ulcer, so he did start me on some medication, and did kind of backtrack me in my diet phase, back down to like the first or second phase of eating, just to make sure that we were given that medication some time to address an ulcer if that was actually causing the symptoms I was having. And if not, then, we didn't have to pursue any further testing. So I will get into that in my next video when I cover dietary issues, which are different from potential complications. Potential complications is really dealing with, what are the effects of surgery, or, later on, did you make the best choices or not type thing. But dietary issues is going to be the next video. So I'm super excited to cover that one because it has one of my favorite topics in it, which is sliming. And we all know how upsetting sliming can be. So that's on so the next video will be all about dietary issues. So stay tuned for that one. But if you do have any comments, questions, concerns about potential complications, definitely post a comment below. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I'm always up to answer any questions. Or as I've stated in previous videos, if you do want me to dive a little bit deeper into the complications I've listed on the page that I showed you guys, please let me know. I'll be happy to dive in a little bit deeper for you. But as for right now, just wanted to cover what complications that I was made aware of, to be on the lookout for, early or afterwards, following VSG surgery. So thank you guys again for tuning in, for being a part of Peachy's World, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.